Welcome to my class. You might be in Psych 150 or Psych 239 or Psych 241. Any of those classes will follow the same routine, so this particular demo is going to be good for all of my classes. And of course, if you've already been in one of my classes, you know how this works. So Moodle has a menu system on the side. You just click there, you click it to expand all, or you click here to collapse all. And yes, it does show everything that is going to be part of a particular section of the class, but it doesn't show you dates. And I think the student needs to see the date immediately. So I have set up a way to show the students the dates that things are due, and that is my menu system I've created. So here's the menu system. Now you're looking at this menu system on what might be a 17-inch monitor on a laptop. That's the way it looks. You could be looking at it on a phone, and then this is the way it looks. It shrinks it down, right? But most of you are on a laptop or on a computer, and so you will see the menu system much larger than what you're looking at right here. This is an accessible menu system for those students who are using screen readers or keyboards, as well as visually oriented students. So you have the course resources at the top. This green section is how you will reach all of your major tests in my class. The tests are not listed in each section. They are listed in their own section right here. You would click on that to get to the tests. So here are all the tests and little surveys as well that you could take about the test that tells me what you liked about that particular section, because each one of the tests covers 2 sections. So you can tell me what you understood, what you didn't understand, and give me some feedback so I can make it better. So, and I already know the quizzes are long and laborious. So I'm sorry about that, but that's my quizzes. You can take them as many times as you want to, and you are guaranteed, basically, if you just take them and take them and take them, to get 100% on the quizzes. But they're only worth about 7 points out of 100 points. So, but they teach you, and that's how you learn, is to go through things over and over again. So you could click here when you get into the class and you're not just sort of looking around, and you want to go right to the current unit, and it takes you to the yellows. The yellows are the current units. Look at this one, for instance. Your dates may be different because you're in a different semester than I'm making this for, but due May 21, due May 23. These two are both due on the same week, therefore they are both yellow. When this one is due, it's the only one that'll be due that week. These will become white, and this one will become yellow. Then in the next week, it'll become white, and this one will become yellow, but so will this one. Test number 1 will be due at the same time as the development in this particular class. In some other classes, the design may be a little bit different for timing. But I have dates, and that's the thing I think is important. Not only is there a date, but it also tells you what's due that day. So, for instance, on May 21st here, 1 form and 1 email is due for the first day activities. And also on May 23rd, that same week, 1 other forum and 1 quiz is due for the Unit 1. For Unit 2, 1 forum, 1 quiz. Unit 3, 1 forum, 1 quiz. And that same week, a test, which will cover the first 2 units, Unit 1 and Unit 2. You see in memory there's no forum and there's 1 quiz. In states of consciousness, 1 forum, 1 quiz. Learning, no forum, 1 quiz. So it tells you exactly what you're supposed to be doing and what the date is for when they're due. Also, when you click on the link, it takes you directly to that section. So now here I am in memory because I clicked on the memory section. And I want to show you that every single one of the sections, the units, are set up the same way. We have a block that's sort of orange, and it's the chapter that you have to read. When you click on that, it opens up the text from OpenStax that you have to read for psychology. So then you just run through it. It's one huge giant file if you open all of them. So I have broken them down into each chapter so you don't have to search for it. I'm going to close this and go back here. So that was clicking on the textbook link. There's a yellow section that tells you what you're supposed to be learning. Basically, it's nothing basic. It just, here's information that you would probably learn if you did everything in the text, if you read everything, and if you read all my lecture. So this is my lecture. I have if you're in an online class, and many of my students are online students, you don't ever get to hear the lecture. You don't know you just get a piece of it in the PowerPoint. That's it. So what do you know? What is it that's important to the instructor? So here are my lectures. I have every single lecture done where you can click on the lecture. It tells you how many 15-minute lectures or 24-minute lectures there are. This one is 24 minutes long for memory number 1. If I click on 2, memory 2 is 23 minutes, memory 3 is 14 minutes, memory 4 is 10 minutes, and memory 5 is 17 minutes, right? So again, we go back to 1 again, and I usually have some kind of a song that is connected with that particular topic. So Barbra Streisand's Memories is a good example for memory. And I have usually a quote of some kind at the top. So this is the way that all of my lectures are laid out. So in my lectures, I have also included a recording of me reading the lecture so you can hear it, because some students are much better at hearing a lecture and understanding it rather than just reading it. But you can read through it and hear it at the same time. For instance, "I've done that," says my memory. "I cannot have done that," says my pride, and remains adamant. At last, memory yields. So I have actually read through the entire thing. Now I give you some at the very beginning of every single unit, I give you 2 videos that you could watch. The first one, The Behaving Brain, is done by Dr. Zimbardo, who just recently passed away. He's one of the most famous psychologists in modern today, psychologists, and we will talk about him in this class. And then a crash course, and the younger students like the crash course. They enjoy the crash course because the crash course is a fast talker and the Dr. Zimbardo is a slow talker, and that's just basically the difference. They both cover the same stuff. And then I have yellow things that you should definitely remember what they are and what they mean. And I've recorded and talked through this entire text. So that's number 1. Once you get to the bottom, when you're done, you can then either click the next page, or you can click number 2 and get to the second one of the 5 lectures for memory. Some lectures have 4, some lectures have 8, and one lecture has only 1. So each one of these you should go through, and you can find them up here if you click on it's universal. What it means is your menu, and click on the menu, and you've got the preface, you've got history, science, biopsychology. These are all the things that we're going to cover the entire time in your class. So this is the whole semester. In 8-week, 12-week, 10-week, 14, 16-week, it doesn't matter. We're covering every single one of these, and these are my lectures for every single one of them. Now I do have a snowman game, sort of, that hasn't yet been completely covered, and I haven't finished it, but it's basically what is the topic about in this class? All of you know what the topic is, obviously. There's a G in it, there's an H in it. Is there an I? No, there's not. And look, you've got a snowman started. How about an R? No. Z? No. X? No. W? V? U? T? And Oh, I lost. And it says up here, so sad. If you want to play again, click the next replay. I would really love it if I could get this snowman to just dance when you are correct and you finish it correctly. But if you don't get it right, he looks sad. So that's the game. And I close this. I have flashcards that haven't been finished yet. There is a crossword puzzle for every single unit, not for every single page, but for all 5, for instance, in memory. This would be all 5 of those together. So you want to go through the entire unit before you try the crossword puzzle. And then there's a search as well. So if you wanted to search for a specific topic that you remember, we talked about this. What was it? Let's try Freud, for instance. I type in Freud. I'm going to put a space in afterwards as well, so it doesn't, Freudian doesn't show up, just Freud. And then I'm going to click search, and it pops up and says these are the places where Freud was found. And if you want to go to those, if you want to look at each one of them, oh, it was the one in the conscious. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to remember which one it was in the consciousness section. So, all right, click here. It opens consciousness. And then you can do a Control F and look for Freud. And there he is. Dreaming, talking about dreaming. That's in Unit 1, right? But obviously it showed me more than that. It showed me a whole bunch of stuff where Freud is actually showing up. So you can get to a place anywhere within my lectures to find a particular thing in the lectures. There's a maximum of 12 characters, though, so don't put in any. If you put in more, it's just going to ignore those. Right? So that's the searching. Then after that, there will be a summary notes that I have, so you can read the summary notes for that particular lecture. It's not the whole lecture, it's just summary notes from it. And then also I have the PowerPoint presentation for this memory unit. So if I click on the PowerPoint, it will open up a link where you can get to the PowerPoint memory. That's the actual PowerPoint. Or, as you can see at the very bottom, it says PPT, memory PPT. But then if I click on this one, oh, look, it's memory PDF at the bottom. If I click on that one, I get the PDF. My suggestion is to print out the PDF and then listen to the lecture, or bring it to class if you're in a class. Listen to the lecture, bring it to class, and start making comments on this, because you will be allowed to use notes in your tests, and therefore you should have notes, good notes. And so this is half of your note is right here, and then anything that wasn't listed in here or mentioned in here, you can write down as well. So my idea for you is to be able to get through this course and know the material, but I'm not trying to make you into a psychologist. This is just a class for your class work in your degree, and hopefully you'll enjoy it, and it'll be so interesting that you'll go, maybe I want to be a psychologist. But it's not here to train you to be a psychologist. However, the material we do learn will help you in school. It will help you in life. It will help you with your family. So there's a whole host of things that Psych 150 can help you with, but I'm not here to make you into a psychologist. I just wanted to make sure you understand that. Okay, that was the memory. Now, memory quiz for printing. Okay, I'm going to click on this. It's going to open up another link. I'm going to click on the quiz memory link, and this is print it out. This is a PDF that you print out, and then you can answer all the questions on it. There are a lot of them. All right, there's 9 pages here of questions. And then once you're finished answering all of them, go back to the memory section and click on the online quiz. And when you click on the online quiz, it will open up that quiz. I'm going to preview the quiz for you so you can see it. And what you're going to do in here is just put in A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever it was that you had on your paper that you printed out, you're going to be popping it back and forth in each one of these. This is a finished product, but you've taken quizzes, hopefully, and you know what it means to take a quiz in Moodle. So I'm going back to the memory section here, and notice in this one, no discussion for this unit. I'm going to tell you every single time once you get to the bottom underneath the red, that's where your graded options are. There's no discussion for this unit. I do not tell you if there's a test available. Make sure you watch the dates for tests and make sure you take those tests. And the way to get to the tests is to click on the access tests, right? So make sure you click on the access tests to get tests when you need to take the tests. I do allow one oops on tests. And every student has a time when they forget or something happened and they didn't take the test when they were supposed to. One oops, one. I will allow you to redo that test. So I have 9 tests altogether in my class. 9, yes, 9. And 2 of them are dropped. So if you got 2 other zeros, you can drop them. The lowest 2 tests are dropped. And this confuses students a little bit because the first test and the second test don't count at first because they're the 2 lowest tests and they got dropped. And then when you take the third test, all of a sudden, at least one of them, because 2 of them will be dropped, 2 of the lowest out of the 3, now a test starts to appear in your score. And then the fourth one, then 2 tests will be dropped, and 2 will be kept. And the fifth one, 2 will be dropped, 3 will be kept. So 2 lowest grades are dropped. Right? So really you can screw up on 3 tests because I have 1 oops and 2 dropped. Right? Tests are timed. You get 30 questions and 30 minutes to take it. So you should know the material. Don't expect that you're going to be able to look it up and take as much time as you want to find all the answers. That doesn't work. You have to know the material, but you do have your notes and your book. And my suggestion is, in taking tests, go through the entire test, because it's all open at the same time for my tests. Go through the entire test, take the test, skip the ones you don't know, and then when you finish answering everything, go back to the beginning and start answering the ones you did not know. That way, you'll have gotten through the entire test and answered all the ones you do know, and you take the rest of the time in the test to just look up the ones you weren't sure about or the ones you did not know, right? So that's how my tests work and how my quizzes work. And then for discussions, let me go to one of the ones that has a discussion. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the class. That's this link up here. And I'm going to go to, let's see, I do have grades, forums, and quizzes and tests here. These are just shortcuts. So let me go to the shortcut for forums and show you what it looks like. Here are all the forums in the class. So let me go to the very first forum, the Icebreaker forum. And this is the description of the forum. It's a long description. It tells you what you're supposed to do in the forum. And then when you get to the bottom of this description, there's a link to actually enter the forum and start putting in your answer. So I'm going to click there. And what you see is a very short description now, very short description, and what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put in 3 different posts. 1, you're supposed to answer the blue question. In that blue question, when you answer it, you have to have 5 sentences. You have to have a quote to support what you're saying from the book or from my lectures or my PowerPoint, either one. So include the quote to support your posted answer and include an in-text citation and reference with the quote. What's an in-text? Well, oh gosh, you didn't look. So let me go back to this. Oh, look, it talks about in-text citations and it talks about references. And so read the description because it tells you all the things you have to do before you actually go into it and then start posting. I will also post an answer. And you have to reply to my answer to myself, again, with 5 sentences. There is no need to do a quote and a citation and reference on the second and third posts that you do. So reply to my answer with 5 sentences, again. And why is it 5 sentences? Because 5 sentences make up a paragraph. And then reply to any classmate's response with 5 sentences. So those are the 3 posts that you have to post. Make sure you always have 5 sentences. Now you can also post, you go girl. 1 little sentence. You go girl. It's not going to count in your grade. It gets a 0. You're allowed to post them, but it won't get any grade for it. Okay, just to be sure, you are allowed to post anything you want to. And you can post 5 sentences, 10 sentences, 20 sentences. But you are required to do 5 at the minimum in every single one. Now, the question about this one, because is it 5 sentences and a quote? No, the quote counts as 1 sentence, and it doesn't matter how many sentences the quote has, by the way. A quote can have 5 sentences in it. It only counts as 1 sentence. You have to have 4 of your own words, your own sentences out of your own head, right? And I don't want you to take this quote, put it into ChatGPT or any other AI, and tell it to answer the quote. I want it from your own head, not from a electronic head. Okay, so this is actually my answer to that. You won't be able to see my answer again. I just showed you the answer, but that's the only one I'm going to show you. You won't see any answers until you post your first post and wait 30 minutes. 30 minutes later, you will be able to see all the other posts, including mine, and then you reply to mine and you reply to a student's. Okay, so you can't do this at 11:35 at night on the day it's due because you won't have time. You have to wait another 30 minutes, and by then it's due, it's gone. You're late, right, for discussions. My students tend to go back and post sentences, posts that are late posts, and they can do so, but I'm not going to grade them. So make sure your posts are on time. So let me go back to the very beginning again, and I think that covers how my quizzes work, tests work, and how my forums work, and how my menu system works. And so we're done. And I hope you enjoy my class. I try to make it enjoyable. I try not to get in the way of your learning. And I hope you want to take more of my psychology classes. Have a great day.